Virginia Tech plus 5.5. You can keep those points. We don't even need them. 2-1 last night. 2-0 the night before. That thing to break over the middle of the plate.
I think he stepped out easy.
Let's go to Arby's.
Let's go to Arby's. What's up?
Hi.
Here we go. Super Bowl edition. The final football game of the year. We got props. Hold on, I'm trying to find the screen. I lost you guys somewhere. Too much to open. But anyway, Super Bowl edition. We got there you are. We're gonna have props for the night. Oh, he's got his Mr. Ice sweatshirt on. I don't have a Mr. Ice sweatshirt. Maybe I can get one tomorrow. I'm going to Elios for the Super Bowl, or for at least some of it. Cincinnati, LA Rams. It doesn't have a lot of historical appeal to it, you would say. If you said a Rams-Bengals Super Bowl, you're probably like, eh. And I've heard a lot of people say that. Boy, is this kind of a not an exciting Super Bowl. But I think it will be once the teams are on the field. I just think it has that, that kind of like neither one of these teams of like, none of them are like big-time popular teams. There's not a lot of Bengals fans walking around. Not a lot of Rams fans. But I like the teams. I think it should be a good game. I don't know who the hell to pick in it. Part of me was thinking Bengals all week. Now I've kind of slid to the other side. I'm now thinking, is there just too much love on the Bengals right now? That Rams front, boy, they can get to the quarterback. I don't know what to think. What do you think?
I go back to, it's funny. We hit the Rookie of the Year picks.
Did we?
Early in the year, right? We missed on Comeback Player of the Year. I missed MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. But the other one and the only prediction I made for the Super Bowl was after week 3 was the Rams plus 800. They've done nothing but add to the roster since then. They've stayed relatively healthy away from, Bobby Trees. But they've added Beckham. They've added Von Miller. Tyler Higbee's going to miss the game. Stafford's had some issues. They're the better team. It's clear cut talent wise. They basically traded away 4 years of draft picks to get this team. I wouldn't. I think it's the Rams. I felt it's going to be the Rams. Now I like Burrow, and I think a lot of people like Burrow, and I think that's what's kind of fucking with people because they want to see the guy in the locker room, with a cigar and his shirt off. He's a fun guy. I just don't think they got the talent. I don't think they got the talent on defense.
Neither do I.
But look, if they win, I'm letting my ticket ride. Obviously, we're not going to hedge that thing out, and we're going to let that ride. I got it actually at plus 750. We gave it out at plus 800, but I put it in the next day, and the line.
Who did you take?
I had the Rams at plus. I tweeted out earlier the clip of the show. We discussed it for a minute or so.
Okay.
It's everything I said then that holds true now. I don't really love the game from like an interest standpoint. I think part of the fact it's a brand new stadium in a town that hasn't had football for a decade, right? Prior to, the Raiders being there for a little bit. It's a team with really no fan base, on the LA side.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a little odd. I do know a guy going. I know the one Bengals fan I know is actually going out there. He's pretty cranked up. But it's hard for me to get jacked up. Like if the power went out at 6:00, and I never lose power, so this is really a crazy hypothetical.
Because I'd be pissed off if the power went off regardless. But
I
know what you're saying.
I missed the game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go anywhere to watch it. I'd maybe go somewhere to take a hot shower, but I'm not. So I'm kind of hoping it just gets over. I'm hoping it's a decent game. The build-up, the problem is the playoffs were so good. And those games were just so, especially the last 2 weekends, right? After wild card weekend, it was insane. But I think the reason people are struggling with Cincy is, I basically did the Bengals beat the Chiefs, or did the Chiefs piss down their leg? Right, and so I don't think like the Bengals went in there and beat them.
A little bit of both, though. I mean, the Bengals, you got to give them some credit. They stopped them the whole second half. So,
well, they did. The that last play at the half. Apparently, that was like a Mahomes. He called it. They said don't do it. He did it anyway, or they said throw it through the end zone and we'll kick. And he owned it and said that was my call. I saw Hill. I thought he could move, and I just.
That was a bad play.
what I don't get is there's a lot of stuff going on with the NHL coaches and the Flores thing. All those people that love Eric Bieniemy, and think this guy is just the second coming. It's his offense that once again like laid an egg in a playoff, and for no one ever talks about his stock and how that hurts his stock. And Dayball's a guy I've been for 2-3 years. Like this guy needs to be a head coach, and Dayball finally got a seat, and I think that's great. But it's funny that Bieniemy's almost beyond criticism at this point. And
are there any jobs left for him to get? I don't even know what's open anymore.
No. McDaniels did go run. I don't know if you saw. So he took Mike Lombardi's kid with him to be the OC. The running back coach, Friars, he's I think that's his name. He's retiring.
No,
so there's a little bit of chaos in New England, but no, I think all the coaching situations are all buttoned up. So he'll sit for another year, but he'll get a shot. I just don't. I don't think he's done anything the last 2 years to deserve it with what Kansas City's pumped out, and he's got the best quarterback in the league statistically, or one of the top three in Mahomes, and he's 1 for 4. Right? They choked. Pats beat him. Mahomes' rookie year. I don't think Casey really choked that game away, but they could have won that game. They got the 1 Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong, but 3 of the 4 years, like they've kind of underachieved. They've had home field, and they didn't win a Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 seasons. And there's no criticism of him there. But I think I like Chase. I've been on Chase all year. I've liked Mixon. We've had a lot of Mixon overs throughout the year. So I'm trying to get interested in it. I'm just having a hard time naturally getting, jacked and pumped for this one.
Yeah.
It reminds me, what it reminds me of? Seattle and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that was
years ago. And I watched it. I remember I was at my mother, at my in-laws' house. We watched it. We left at halftime. I missed a chunk of the third quarter. It was like, whatever. I think it was the Matt Hasselbeck year, Jerome Bettis year. It was just kind of a whatever Super Bowl. This one's just like that for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm not.
So the props. So I've been off for 2 weeks. No one hit me for any Pro Bowl props.
Oh wow! Huh? I can't believe that.
I thought about 1 or 2, but so we took a week off, and the problem with the Super Bowl, if you think about the prop bet, right? Like these props always existed. In fact, they were invented for the Super Bowl. You could only bet these type of bets for Super Bowls. And then online gambling and everything else. Like now you get the thing right now is the menu is overwhelming. I mean, you go on to the Barstool app and you have alternate lines. So Odell Beckham has like 6 over-unders, and each one the juice moves. So one of the ones, Patrick, if you can pull up, is 99.5 yards. That's not a true total. Now, all my other numbers here, by the way, I believe are the true numbers.
Okay.
So the juice is right. But Beckham, we've been on for 3 weeks. I'm going right back to that over 5.5.
His number keeps creeping up. He was 3.5 the first week, 4.5. He's up to 5.5 now.
I know, but he's getting it by halftime.
Oh, he had like 8 or 9 catches in the championship game.
So, it's hard to not go back. The second one is the one I'm admittedly getting a little cute on. I've always been a Beckham guy. I owned him in fantasy his rookie year and watched him kind of fall apart in Cleveland because it was Cleveland.
Yep.
And so I like seeing him kind of come back and prove some folks wrong. I don't know if you saw he said he was very close to signing with New England this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
But so if you play with the alternate lines, 99.5 plus 370. I don't know. That one jumped out to me at like 4-1 for a 100-yard game. It just seems like wrong. He had 109 yards his last game, I believe, or 111. But it's plus 370, as I always say, it's plus 370 for a reason. But I like that one. Cam Akers. So you'll see that these next three are basically batched together. Same thesis, and maybe it's too much exposure with one idea. But Akers left the NFC Championship game with a shoulder. Michelle came in the game and did very well. Darrell Henderson's coming back. McVay's always been a committee guy, historically, last few years anyway. I don't think Akers is going to get the touches to get the yards. So, maybe half a unit each of those instead of going a unit across, right? I'd maybe split those. But I don't see that. Even if they win the game, I don't see that. If they lose the game, I definitely don't see that. Michelle's 17.5, I think, is way too low. Same thesis, right? I think he's going to play. I mean, that's 2 or 3 runs he could get that. So, I'll take that one at that value of minus 112. And then Burrow over 276, I really like. Because I think they'll be down. And Tyler Boyd, 42.5 yards. I saw somewhere, I think the Rams give up the 8th most fantasy points to slot receivers on the season. That's what Boyd is, right? You got Higgins and Chase outside.
Mm-hmm.
So 42 is pretty light. And then Cooper Kupp for MVP. I didn't like any of the touchdown odds at all. If anything, maybe the 2 touchdown odds make more sense. There are a lot of guys like plus 150, plus 185. I usually like a 3-1 touchdown scorer. There just aren't any that exist when you get one game. It's kind of hard to pick from. So I kind of struggled with this week because there's so many options. I'm so indifferent to the game, and the lines are really accurately priced. So there wasn't anything that jumped out. Kupp to me to win MVP, 550. Edelman's won it. Deion Branch has won it. It does go to a receiver. Obviously, if you're betting the Bengals, I probably wouldn't take Kupp to win MVP.
What was Stafford?
They were all low. I think he was like plus 150 or plus.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they win, they'll give it to him.
Well, so there's a Barstool bet. Will a quarterback win? And it's minus 235.
Yeah.
Now I love that, but I typically don't do minus 235s, especially on these sheets. The other thing you got to factor in is these alternative lines can't be parlayed in the Barstool like parlay creator because you could arb them. It wouldn't be that hard to do. So it's really hard to get a good parlay. You can maybe get like a player prop or two if they're what I would call the natural lines, right? Like Tyler Boyd's natural numbers 42.5. You could bet him over 90 if you want, and it pays out like 400, 500, 600 on a $100 play. But I like his natural over. So I think in order to parlay these, you need the natural totals, and they don't really mark it on Barstool like this is the real line, and then these are alternate lines.
This might be all I do. I may not play the game. I just might play the props, and that's it. Because I really, really struggling on. First I was thinking Bengals money line, but I've kind of moved off that now. I don't know. I think the Rams beat them, and I would, and if Cincinnati wins, I wouldn't be disappointed. I mean, because that's a fan base that's never had anything, so it'd be kind of cool to see them win. I don't think they're going to, but so I'm kind of maybe just a prop game for me. I can't even come up with a side in this.
Yeah, they did what? They've been to the Super Bowl twice.
Twice, and didn't the Niners beat them both times?
Beat them both times. The first one I don't remember. I was too young. I remember the Ickey Woods one.
Yeah.
That was Tim Krumrie, I think, broke his leg early on in that game. And they got.
I barely remember either one of them.
Sam Weish. I think the first one was in '84. No, it'd be not. Look, I always say this is why I'm not a college football guy. It's why I've always leaned more to hockey. It's kind of why I haven't been into the NBA that much. 5 of the last 12 Super Bowl champions, I think, didn't make the playoffs the prior year.
Yeah.
And then you just like, what are the odds? If I said to you coming into the season, like Bengals Rams, right? I mean, even to start the playoffs, they were pretty high odds.
I wouldn't have bought Bengals at the week 1 of the playoffs when I was in Vegas. I wouldn't have taken. I took Raiders in the game. I thought Cincinnati was going to lose that one. I never would have thought Cincinnati. That would have been the one team out of the. Would I have thought the Patriots? I don't think so. So maybe the Cincinnati might have been, it might have been Patriots, Cincinnati, 6-7. But I'm shocked they're here. But hey, I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they beat KC. Rams, I could have bought the Rams because I thought they were good. I thought they were good all year. Middle of the year, they looked unbeatable. Then they kind of hit that patch in the middle where they sucked. Then they kind of picked it back up again. Rams, they could have bought in the Super Bowl, but Bengals, no way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, I feel like there's every team nowadays hits that patch, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kansas City hit it this year. The Pats when they were really good. One of the things watching Man in the Arena, you kind of forget like, oh yeah, that was the year they struggled like week 12 to 15, right? Even the year they beat the Rams in Atlanta.
Yeah, I remember that.
Years ago, the end of the year, they kind of they didn't really play that well, right? They lost a bunch of games and almost like blew the division, and they blew home field. That's why they were in Kansas City. They lost that Dolphins game on the crazy run.
Crazy run back, yeah.
So but I like McVay. Look, they completely sold out. So this is one of the debates I was having with some of the main contingent. Has the NFL become the NBA? Right? You had the Tampa Bay basically bought a title, and they're saying, well, look at the Rams. The Rams to me are more like what Danny Ainge did, trading for Garnett. This wasn't like all these guys getting together saying, let's go to the Rams. They've basically given up 4 years worth of draft picks.
It's different. It is different.
Right. And these players, I mean, yes, Beckham did choose, but they traded for Von Miller. They traded for Stafford, right? They drafted Cup. They traded for Ramsey. And in the end, Beckham went there because they were a good team. But Beckham, forget too, Beckham by no means was like thought to be a superstar in the league. He was waived and cleared waivers. All 32 teams could have picked him up and that contract, and they passed. Yep. He's not a Pro Bowler anymore. So he's playing well on this team, and he's put in a position to succeed. But it wasn't like they got this star wide receiver halfway through the year that everyone wanted, right? And you also don't see guys. I mean, I go back to like the LeBron piece, him leaving 5 years into his Cleveland tenure. Like you don't see that with Mahomes. Mahomes isn't going to be in Kansas City in 5 years and then leave and go go play with Cooper Kupp and a couple other guys on it. It's a different. So I don't think it's there yet. I think obviously the Brady thing created a unique circumstance in Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is going to pay a price now. I mean, they'll be horrible for a few years.
Yeah, they're not going to be good. Did you see the thing out? I don't know how true it is. And I know he said on his thing this week that never say never about him playing again. And I know Zolak thinks this. I've heard this that eventually Tampa Bay is going to trade him to San Fran.
I think he is going to play again.
Do you really?
I don't even think. And then Gronk came out today and said he thinks he's going to play again, but after a couple years off. And
Gronk thinks who's going to play again?
He thinks Brady's going to take a year or two off and then come back, kind of like Jordan when he came back to the Wizards. Now, I don't think he'll do that because he'll be too old.
I think if he plays again, it's next year. I don't think he takes a year off and plays.
I think he'll play next year. I think it probably has to be San Francisco. Denver probably is the team that makes the most sense, X's and O's wise, but I don't see him going to Denver. I could definitely see it. I could also see him pulling a Roger Clemens, right? And if there's a situation where some team loses a quarterback Imagine if Pat Mahomes blows his ACL week 8. Tom Brady will be in Kansas City week
You think
9.
so?
I'm convinced of it. Right? Because you don't give me the whole, well, he's going to learn the playbook and OTAs in camp. If there's one guy that could skip all that, right? It's a Peyton Manning, a Brady.
Yeah, no, I don't think that wouldn't hold him up. No, absolutely not.
But I think that, look, the right circumstances have to fall. If, do I think he would go to who's a contending team? Tennessee, if Ryan Tannehill goes down and plays for Vrabel? No, I don't. Because it goes back to what we said when this first came out. He knows Tampa can't win, and at this point, and I'm even more convinced after watching Man in the Arena. That's really what it's all about for him at this point. If he can't go and win, and so if he gets an 8th, and people think like he cherry picked his team, he doesn't give a shit, right? And he doesn't need the money. So it's just Phil Rivers almost did it, right? He almost came, and Drew Brees, they tried to beg to come out. The Saints called Brees like week 16 and said, "Can you come play for us?"
Yeah.
One game. So, the fact he's done it this long, it was weird the way the whole, it got broken. Then he's like, "No, I'm going to take my time." Then the next day he announced that there's a story behind that we don't know yet.
I think the fact that he did do it the next day was kind of like, all right, it's out, so I might as well announce it. I don't know if I don't know. I can't figure the guy. I mean, if you were planning on playing again, what's the point of announcing you're retiring? But I don't know.
Well, I think he wants to be afraid.
I mean, he could be, trying to force Tampa's hand.
Yes. No, I think he is. I think he's trying to do the right thing. Right? Unlike what Gronk did when he kind of stuck it to the Pats in March and said, "I'm walking away." And it was like free agency had happened. A bunch of stuff had already started.
Yeah.
He's going to say to them, "I've told you everything. I've done everything the right way. I'm done. Cut me loose so I have the option to potentially," because I'm not even so sure like Sam Fran wants him right away. Right. I wouldn't be shocked if Sam Fran just sees what Trey Lance does for 3 or 4 weeks. Remember, they gave up an awful lot to get Trey Lance. And if he doesn't play well, San Fran's got a good team. But think about the mentorship that Lance would get from a year under Brady. So it makes all the sense in the world. But I think you'd only go to the West Coast or a team like KC. It would have to be one of the really good teams. And there's not that many really good teams. Right? That you just say, put a good quarterback in. I mean, the Rams, if Stafford gets hurt next year, I could see him playing for the Rams.
So you don't think him doing this to Tampa doesn't leave a bad taste in Tampa's mouth with them? I mean, the fact that he's under contract, they say, "Hey, we've got a team here. You're our quarterback. We need you. So if you're going to play next year, why wouldn't you play for us?"
No, it does. I think it does. I think it would.
To me, this is him cherry picking where he's going.
Yeah. No, look, he's changed. I mean, I heard this over the weekend. I was out and listening to one of the sports shows, and they're like, "Jesus, this guy's changed the last 3 years," and he has. No doubt about it. But I think he's earned that right to do that a little bit at this point. And I think if you're Tampa, it's like, you got a Super Bowl out of it. If they didn't get a Super Bowl, I would be more in your camp. Like he kind of stuck it to them. But I mean, they did win a title. They could have maybe won one this year if they didn't have the injuries that they had and Antonio Brown and everything else. So I don't fault them if they're pissed, but I also don't really fault Brady in this situation. And look, I'd love to see him keep going. I mean, he was runner-up for MVP. And that's the other piece, right? Does he care about going out and just sucking and everyone see him stink? I don't think he does.
Now, if he sits out the whole year and he doesn't play, is he a free agent at the end of the next year, or does Tampa get to retain him because he didn't use the service time?
That I don't know. And I think
the same thing with Gronk. I know Gronk couldn't go anywhere because he was still under contract, but I think he would have been a free agent if he had waited one more year. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, I'm not the two areas of the NFL, as much as I pay attention to is the salary cap and the calendar and when the dates, the
Yeah.
way that all works. Um,
Because if I were the Patriots back in 2020 and Gronk said, you either need to trade me to Tampa or I'm sitting, I would say that you can continue to sit. Because why am I going to trade you down there for pennies on the dollar? I
Yep.
never understood that deal. They got a 5th-round pick for him. And I know you could have said they could have got 0 for him. But all right, what did they get for that 5th-round pick? Who's the guy on their team?
no, I know. And look, to defend him, and I'm not a big Gronk guy, but they had him traded to Detroit the year before, and I forget if he nixed it or it fell apart, but like they were ready to move on from him. Man in the Arena, and I've mentioned it a bunch. I can't recommend it enough, and I'm not an ESPN guy. It's such an insight into what went sideways when you start to get into Edelman and Gronk and Brady and how they in Guerrero. It's all stuff we knew or kind of figured like, oh, there must be issues there. But they're really open about it. I mean, Edelman was really critical of Belichick. And then he kind of couched it by like, I love the guy. But yeah, they're basically saying like the better you got, the higher profile you got, the more you were like a target in practice, the more Belichick would be up your ass screaming at you. And I mean, that's the Parcells model, right? Like Phil Simms, like we all know this. But it became, the people now that are like, oh, I thought it was no fun to play in New England. It looks like they're having fun this year. A couple of years ago, it wasn't any fun. That's clear when you watch this documentary. Like it was and they were winning in spite of it, but they weren't having a good time. In the media, in the bullshit. I remember listening to Dennis and Callahan the morning he hung up on him because they were pressing him on Guerrero and the sideline stuff. And he was just like, I'm done. This isn't football. I'm done with it. And I think in a lot of ways, Boston sports media and the focus on the nonsense is really what was like, got him to the point where it's like, fuck this. Why do I need this in my life? And I don't really blame him, right? Belichick's, it's different because he's still got to run a program. But, I came away watching 9 hours of that or whatever it is, feeling pretty good about the way the whole thing went. Now, he didn't mention him in his speech or his thank yous and all this other petty stuff. I don't know what to make of that. But I think he was right. I think he was pissed at they cut Antonio Brown. He knew that team wasn't going to win.
Well, Antonio Brown is kind of a psychopath. I mean,
I totally agree. But he won a Super Bowl last year with him in Tampa. Right. And
I have people that tell me Brady doesn't give a shit, about anything.
I don't think he does. And I've always theorized that you remember, and this is one of my own, and me, Turk, this is one of my own theories. I think Kraft was feeling the heat because that was right around the time he got pinched in Florida with the massage deal. And he didn't want any stink on the team. And so the easiest thing to do was to cut Antonio Brown, right? Because the spotlight was going to be on Kraft pretty soon. And that story's just kind of gone away, right? I think the tapes have even been destroyed. Or
they have, yeah.
Right? So I think that was all kind of part of it. And if you're Brady, here's the other thing. If I'm Brady and I look over and Bill Belichick's 36-year-old son is the defensive coordinator, and Mike Lombardi, his buddy, his son is on the offensive staff. It's like, the staff is always been kind of this patchwork, cheap staff, like for the last 10 years. Like I totally get his side of it. And I think, I think Belichick's coming out, will start to come under fire too. Obviously there's a little bit of a love fest right now because they went 10-7. They made the playoffs. Mac Jones ended up being a Pro Bowl alternate. This year coming up, I think is going to be very telling for them.
Yeah, it will be. You don't even know who the team's going to be. Still a long way away. We're getting a lot of notifications here. What is this third notification? All right, St. Louis. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with them.
Elios, are you going to be part of the? Is he going to get you on his camera shots, or what's he doing? Is he having a party tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm just going over there to watch the Super Bowl. I don't even know if I'll be there for the actual Super Bowl, or I may be there for some of it. I mean, the game starts at 6:40, and it's Sunday night. You got all the kids, so
Yeah.
be out till 11 o'clock with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
In a game, like I've kind of just said, I really could give a shit less who wins.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go hang out for a little while.
Now, will you dabble into the vodkas tomorrow night, or were you
No.
Sunday night? You just no go now.
Not
Yeah.
no, you know, I saved that for other days, but
For
I
Vegas.
don't need that on a like Vegas trips or
So the shirts, I gotta say,
sweatshirts.
they're pretty nice quality.
Now, did you get that because you placed the bet?
I made a couple of calls to friends in other states,
Okay,
and
that's right. That's how you got it.
yeah, I was able to. I mean, it's such a fresh hoodie. I'm like, I gotta have one. I knew it was gonna hit. The patch is really the. I mean,
That
this
is nice.
quality.
That is nice. That's a nice ad. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not really a heavy sweatshirt. Like when I saw Champion, I don't know if you remember growing up. Remember the old Champion hoodies? They had the real tight, long, like sleeve wraps. They
Yeah,
were
kind
really
of.
heavy quality. This is kind of a hybrid. It's like a sweatshirt and a t-shirt had a child.
Okay.
And it's this right in between. So it's a nice I don't know white. I've never really had a white anything.
Yeah, I don't know about the white. Yeah, but I
It's
guess
ice, right? I mean, it's got
it's
to be
ice. So yeah, what color would you make it?
I
guess.
still think he's potentially looking at a lawsuit because this is the logo that was on all the ice machines.
That's true. It is. You're right. That is on all the ice machines.
Yeah, so somebody has to hold that copyright. So I don't know anything about it if anyone comes for him.
Yeah.
But
Right. I saw some of you go buy bags of ice. That's the thing on the side. Yeah.
right. Well, Patrick said he'd been wearing his, and people are like, who's Mr. Ice? Yeah, I mean, if you don't know by now.
Yeah, that's right, huh?
And he's picking up. He got a Hanes deal. I saw they're delivering shirts to the house.
They've sent shirts to him. Yeah. That doesn't. I had the over in his game tonight. We both actually had the. Well, look at this. He just got 3 goals in the opening 5 minutes of the third period. This is now within reach.
It was
Carolina.
6?
Carolina just scored this, so this game's got 4 goals in it,
and he's getting 6
with 15 to play.
Yeah,
and he got Carolina to make it 3-1, which is the way he wanted it. These next 15 minutes, if he could, and me, I need this. I'd love for this game to push. I thought I had a shot of winning Winnipeg. With 10 minutes to go, it was still 2-2. It looks like they took a major penalty and scored 2 goals on it. Killed me. So it'd be nice if this one could push. We could get to a push. I'm not even asking to get the 7. If we could get
no, you take the push. Awesome. Yeah, you take the push. And so you're over at the Bean Pot last.
Yeah, Bean Pot. I'll be there again this Monday.
Yeah. So I'll do another 2-0. I might release those picks on the Twitter.
Oh, really? Who do you have winning the consolation game with BC Harvard?
I got BC winning that one.
Do you really? Boy,
yeah.
they are not.
Yeah.
They're just not very good. But
no, I got BC. I actually had buddies over at the Women's Bean Pot.
Really?
It wasn't the same night.
Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night.
Yeah. Their girls play hockey, and they went over and
Harvard won it, I think.
Yeah, it's at the old.
Well, it was at Matthews Arena because Northeastern. I think the champion hosts it. I think that's the way they do it.
Yeah, but yeah, I missed it this year. No Bean Pot for me. Like I said, until it becomes a little more inclusive.
Yeah.
I mean, you have UMass Lowell, Quinnipiac, UMaine.
Yeah. Okay, but the idea of this is it's Boston. It's a Boston-based tournament. It's not a New England tournament. New England tournament, that's called Hockey East. Okay, this is the Bean Pot. All you guys who try to sneak your way into it, UMass Lowell and Merrimack and UMass, they all stomp their feet every Holy Cross that they all should be in it.
Holy Cross! No.
It's Boston. It's got nothing to do with any of you. Go start your own.
Yeah, you could. I wonder what you would call it if you did. If I did an alternate one, maybe do it in Worcester at the Centrum. Is that what
the 30 City Cup or something? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I didn't tune in. I mean, I just go back to it's like what I said about the NFL. When you have a tournament and you don't know what's going to happen versus the bean pot where you just know what's going to happen. And then they ruined it with the overtime. That was always the best.
That's the NCAA. That's not, and that is so. What needs to what I don't believe that's going to stay, because when it eventually happens in the bean pot that one of these games gets determined by a shootout, all hell, you're going to have 80,000 people going nuts over it. And I think they'll have to say, what the hell does the NCAA care? This is like the dictatorship the NCAA is. Do what they did the last time. You got to play a 5-minute overtime, and then it's determined a tie. And then what do they care if you go on and play forever to see who wins your tournament? Why do they care? It's already been deemed a tie. It's just them having to control everything.
Yeah.
What integrity of the pairwise are they protecting by telling them you cannot continue to play until you find a winner? It's just bullshit. It's just them trying to be dictators that they are. But it won't stay. But unfortunately, you're going to have to see one, maybe two beanpot games determined by a shootout. And I hope it's just going to be awful. Even if you win it, you're not going to feel like you won it. You won it on a gimmick.
No,
I mean, the NHL doesn't put shootouts in playoffs. NCAA doesn't have shootouts in the tournaments. It'd be like saying at the end of a basketball game, we're going to do free throws to see who wins in the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's crazy.
No, and I don't know what the argument is. I don't
in favor exactly. I'd love to ask somebody. Can I?
Well, I mean, the only thing you could say is the health or whatever, and it's too onerous.
But they've been. Oh my God, Carolina just scored. Oh,
one away. How much time left?
13 and a half minutes. There's so many games this year. Second period has been Elio's period. He gets no goals in the first, and they'll get 5 in the second.
No, he was pretty doom and gloom when he announced his first goal. I think, and he said he was at church for 3 hours today too. I didn't tail him tonight.
I had this game. I had this game too. So we now have a shot. Fuck the push. I mean, I still just want the push, but we have a legitimate chance of winning this game.
You spend 3 hours with the Lord. You know, that's you get a little love.
I mean, I'm not sure why he was at church for 3 hours. I haven't been to a confirmation in a while, but what were they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to ask him.
I guess so. I'll see him tomorrow. I know he's got to go to church again tomorrow for First Communion. He's just been at church all weekend.
Yeah.
Just doing a lot of praying to God here. Well, hopefully his prayers help me tonight. So. All right. Well, Nap, so we got those picks. I'm going to play those. And that might be all I play as far as the game goes. And
I will keep in touch. Like I said in the tweet, I mean, this is kind of like season finale for player props. There's no more NFL. I kind of hibernate in February and March. And then I start doing my NFL draft prep. And
okay. Yeah. So we can do, you know what? Maybe we'll do this year. This is actually, we're absolutely going to do this. So
Bonini. Get him on?
Nah, who knows what he's doing? He's making Dave Matthews disc or something. No, we'll do. Fuck, I work Thursday nights though. I may have to take that one off. We'll do a live. Maybe we should do a live draft show first round.
Oh God,
is it Thursday night?
No, I mean we could. Trust me. I mean, it is Thursday night. I go to Maine. I always take that Friday off.
Jesus Christ.
We usually have 10 guys at my buddy's house watching on the projector, and
that is.
Let's just say
one of the worst days of my life. I got dragged to a draft party in Connecticut, and I didn't want to go because I cannot imagine sitting in a room and watching a draft. One of the worst days of my life, and the guys still laugh about it.
What we got to get you to do is you got to do the mock. So I started a mock draft pool 10 years ago. With these guys, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And every single pick, the thing rescores. So that really spices things up. In about a month, they're going to start to do props, right? So it will be like
I'll bet on it. The only way I watch the draft is if I'm betting on it.
Yes.
Other than that, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. So, but early on, the lines
work on a lineman from some guy. I don't want to hear about it.
Well, the line, I don't get as into the linemen as I do like the quarterbacks. Like when there's a good quarterback year and it's like, where's Mayfield going to go? His over under is 3.5, right? You bet him under 3, and as his name gets called, you're going, you're fist pumping. That's what it's all about. I mean, there's a way to bet on everything, but that is That would be interesting to do a live, and it would be live from Maine. I could maybe, I mean, I'd have people running all around. It'd be a little chaotic. But
You do all okay. Yeah, I mean, I work Thursday nights, so I may have to figure that out. But I think that could have been interesting. We'll have to see if people want that. That could
well,
have
we got free agency. Yeah, there's some things to talk about.
been free agency day.
Do some free agency props. And,
Oh wow, that's yeah.
I did see a few of those already. I did see some coaching. So and so's going to end up in Denver or wherever. But we've kind of missed all of those. They're hard to find on Barstool too. Those ones you got to go overseas to.
Yeah, and they probably go fast too.
Yeah. Well, listen. Have fun at LEOs.
I will.
Have even more fun. I don't know how you can't at the Beanpot when you already know the outcome.
Yeah. Well, who's the winner? You haven't told me that. You just told me when's the consolation game.
Northeastern. It's
wow. Okay, so I hope you're right.
once again.
I hope you're right. Let's see if you are.
5-3.
5-3. Okay.
I'll tweet that one out.
All righty.
Can you bet that Beanpot? I don't know.
Yeah, I actually had lines on it when I went in, but Northeastern was a huge favorite over BC. And Northeastern's number one goalie is on Team Canada, but this kid came in and played unbelievable Monday night. But they were big favorites. I don't know what they are for Monday night. I'll have to take a look. I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. Maybe I'll pile on. It's free money.
All right.
All right, Tarek. We'll see you.
See ya.